Hi, Haley. This is Wendy Nixon, and I wanted to respond to your post. Thank you so much for that. Um, I noticed you had the reference to Saldana and the coding manual. I too felt that that was very helpful in understanding the process and first describing the codes as kind of an essence capturing summary of a concept, part of the data, and then that you could further go on to, categorize and kind of connect things together, and then from that extract a theme by implication. So um, that was just helpful for me to understand that process. Um, and looking at Luke chapter 1, I also found a theme of the supernatural visitation with the angelic presence to Zechariah and his wife, and then also to Mary. So from that, I felt like the supernatural visitation and a re-examination. I felt like that was chosen for a purpose, and because there was also a plan described about John when he would be born, that he would persuade many to turn back to the Lord, the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the children to the fathers, and to prepare a united people who would be ready for the Lord's appearing as a forerunner. And that's in Luke chapter 1, verses 16 and 17. Also for Mary, and verses 30 through 33, the angel Gabriel describes her as the mother of the Son of the Highest, who would reign as King of Israel forever. Of course, this would be Jesus the Messiah. And we can also generally see this in the book of Luke, chosen for a purpose. He chose disciples for specific purposes to share the gospel. At one point later in Luke, he sends out the 70 two by two, and they return with great joy in what they have ministered through the power of the Lord. And also, of course, for today, we can look at this today in our lives, that we see we are chosen for a purpose. I think we all have a purpose and a calling. The Lord chooses us for specific assignments and specific situations according to our giftings. Um, and this can also be seen as a theme of the God of the impossible. That, in Elizabeth's situation, she was barren and older, and she had a child. Mary was a virgin. The disciples were untrained, a fisherman, tax collector, just the least likely to be chosen. And so God uses this to show that He is the God of the impossible. And in our lives too. So that was part of my testimony as a young 16-year-old girl who was very broken and suicidal. That was my salvation experience. I came to the Lord. I had a brief psychiatric hospitalization, found Jesus, recovered, and 20 years later, I became the therapist for that very unit in that psychiatric hospital. Like I said, 20 years later, so that was just a miracle. So thank you so much for your post, Haley. I enjoyed it. Bye.